What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another edition of Sit Down Saturday. Today we're going to be talking about weird Hasbro news. I almost named it Hasbro Weirdos, but I don't know. I don't want to knock anybody that necessarily works at the company, and I don't even necessarily think that all of this news is bad or makes them bad. It's just peculiar and strange, and I feel like my eyes are wonky. Doesn't matter. But I do say that there is something strange in the water up there. It seems anyway. We're going to talk about it. We do have to do some house cleaning from the week before, per usual. The addiction video went over perfectly, so no issues there. That was nice again. We'll see how this one goes because we're 2 for 2. Can we go for 3? We'll have to wait and see. Saber. Look, I said in the video, I know it's not a breastmaster, right? People still want to tell me what it is. It's a brain master or whatever. Look, I don't care. In the words of the king of Wakanda, I don't care. The reason why I went down that road, which leads to the second part of this conversation, is that I thought it was a strange move and a peculiar move, especially with using soft ratchets over hard ratchets, which is what they probably should have done, to include that element at all, being as though I didn't remember that element being a part of the IDW Star Saber, which this thing is based on. This is not supposed to be your G1 Star Saber, in spite of what people were saying in the comments. It's supposed to be an IDW Star Saber. Which brings me to my next bit of news. He has the combiner element coming with the Leo Victory. Now, this Planet X has to take some responsibility for, right? Because this is them confusing you, which is a shame. So I don't think he ever did that in the comics either, but they're doing it. You have these weak ratchets that are going to have to support the weight of this thing, which I can tell you is not going to be pretty more than likely. And on top of that, it's confusing because people already are seeing it as the G1 thing. It comes with some G1 gimmicks, for instance, so I can understand, but that's not what the design is based off of. Now they're throwing another G1 gimmick right behind it, and to me, it makes it more diluted waters. I'm even less interested in it, honestly, from that perspective. Moving on. 4 Dummies came out this week. I'm recording this before it comes out, so I'll be interested to see how it went. It's just fun times. Shout out to the Patreon folks. They'll get the uncut version of that show next month, and there's some funny stuff that I had to cut out for the general channel, but it's coming. I don't want anyone to think for seconds. I'm predicting the future here. People will often comment, like, don't mind the haters or whatever. I don't. If I don't have them, I can't make videos like this, which I do have fun putting together. So I'm hoping, I'm fine. We're all fine here. How are you? And then we had all this exciting D23 stuff. I was intending on doing a Mandalorian and a Rise of Skywalker separate video for each. I'm not sure what direction I went, but I was also playing around with the idea of doing them both. Whatever I ended up doing, I hope you enjoyed it. I can't wait! And then we have to get into our Unicron news. Now, this is, I think by the time this goes up, you guys will have a great understanding as to where this thing is. It's interesting because this is about a week later from when I recorded the last, so this will actually be up to date. Now, in order to do this, we got to first thank Brian Brink. You can see him on Enter the Realm or on Breaking the Mold podcast, part of the Cool Table Network. But there's been some misleading and incorrect and sort of contradictory statements made in regard to what is being shown, what is going towards the crowdfunding, what is being held till later. So hopefully it all worked out. I did back it, so people can stop asking me. I did. I finally decided to go ahead and back it. Well, let's look at the chart. Now, once again, this is from filming this on Monday, so almost a week early. So you guys will have a better idea of where it is than I do at this point, but we'll talk about how it ended the following week. And we're still on an incline. This is as of 8/24, but if you look above the red line, it means it's ahead of its target. Below the red line means it's behind. The green is for the sail bar. And it's on an incline, but it's got a significant way to go. I am not sure how it's going to end at this point. We'll have to see what kind of pre-orders were made around the world. Hopefully it accounts for the rest. We'll see. So fingers crossed. Either way, it was interesting to see where it went. Now, the other thing that often gets kicked around by people is, well, what happens if this thing doesn't get funded? I bet you they're going to make it anyway. I bet you they're going to do this. I bet you they're going to do that. Now, from the very first time we talked about this on my channel, it was on the Dummies show, and we all said they can't do it. They can't put this out if it doesn't get funded because it destroys the trust and platform of the funding. They'll never be able to do it in the future. It would be a breach of contract between the company and the supporters. It just would never work. They'd never see their way out of it. Doesn't mean they won't do it. I can't predict the future. It's just my guess. But if I had to base that on anything, it would bring us to the first part of today's episode where However, we're gonna start with the monster of cookies. The Cookie Monster did not get funded. It had 63 backers, it needed 3,000. Underneath it says not funded. Due to the lack of backers, unfortunately this product will not be produced. So that's it. Dead in the water. Now people have been asking, like, do you get refunded? I don't think you get, if memory serves, with the barge, I didn't get charged for it until it went through. So they just don't charge you. It's not a matter of getting your money back. From what I remember, I'm not sure if it's changed. It could have. And I know I said I already backed this, but I plan on backing it after I finish this video. It's a long story, but that's on today's list of things to do. So Cookie Monster's out and they're not producing it, which is what I would have expected. And I think it's the responsible choice to make. You can't have this sort of marketing, this sort of business plan, have it fail and then make up the coverage on the back end. The problem is you'll never be able to do it again. People won't trust you. People won't believe that there's any kind of urgency. Which brings us to our second point of weird Hasbro news. Hasbro is doing away with plastic in their packaging, starting in 2020. Let's talk about what they've said. So according to Business Wire, Hasbro announced on August 20th, it plans to begin phasing out plastic from new product packaging, including plastic elements like poly bags, elastic bands, shrink wrap, window sheets, and blister pack. This company's ambition is to eliminate virtually all plastic in packaging for new products by the end of 2022. Hasbro tweeted they were proud to announce that they will be phasing out plastic from new toy and gaming packaging, beginning in 2020. Brian Goldner, chairman and CEO of Hasbro, says removing plastic from our packaging is the latest advancement in our more than a decade-long journey to create a more sustainable future for our business and our world. We have an experienced cross-functional team in place to manage the complexity of this undertaking and will look to actively engage employees, customers, and partners as we continue to innovate and drive progress as a leader in sustainability. Now, this isn't the first time that Hasbro has done something similar to this. In fact, in 2010, they eliminated wire ties, and in 2016, they added the how to recycle labeling. They also used plant-based BioPet in 2018, and most recently launched an industry-leading toy recycling program with TerraCycle. So this is par for the course, but this does potentially impact some of us. Not necessarily you, certainly not me, for the most part, but sometimes it will. Let me give you an example. A few years ago, I asked you guys for help to help get this Jaina Solo Black Series figure made after my daughter's namesake. And I bought a ton of them. I bought one for her. I bought one for myself. I bought one for myself to later customize into a Jedi. I also bought another one for her and another one for myself. Why, you ask? So that I could display it in box for a memory, and I have it upside down. But that's okay. What are you gonna do? What happens when this plastic bit is removed? Is there some sort of substitute I don't know about that can allow some sort of window or viewpoint to see the product and keep it in package? Now, most of us here, I get the impression anyway, are not mint on card or mint in sealed box collectors. However, some of us are, and I think that number is actually fairly significant. So we're talking about a number of things here. We're talking about tradition. The 3 3/4 figures have a tradition of looking the way they do when it comes to Star Wars. Transformers, look at the way the vehicles were packaged in the G1, and there is a tradition to it, and tradition does matter. So while this doesn't necessarily impact me, I am curious if you're a mint on card collector, how you feel about this news. Please let me know in the comments. I think they have to come up with a way to make the figure visible. I don't know what that way is. There might be people screaming in the comments, they use egg yolks. You can make this clear sheet into egg yolks and out of egg yolks and you'll be fine. Maybe. I don't know. I'm that's not my specialty. Now, I'm not necessarily a political person. I don't get too involved in politics. It's certainly not on this channel, nor in my regular day-to-day life. And I understand the need to take care of the planet. It is, after all, our home. I also want the planet to continue on for my children far into the future. However, there are a number of countries on this planet of ours that are greatly responsible for the amount of pollution that we get. And they're not quite, perhaps, as much on board with their commitment to protecting the environment as we are. And until that changes, I'm not sure if anything that we're doing is actually having that big of an impact. But I'm not an environmental specialist either, so I'll leave that to the expert. Doesn't impact me a whole lot, but it does impact people in our community, and I think they have to come up with a way to overcome it. And that brings us to our last bit of strange Hasbro news. And this, perhaps, is the strangest. Bow wow wow yippee yo yippee yay, Hasbro's in the house. Hasbro cut a deal to buy the company that owns popular children's cartoon Peppa Pig, expanding its push into entertainment with a bet on preschoolers. They acquired this for $4 billion. The funny thing about this is that Entertainment One also owns Deathrow Records, the notorious label co-founded in Los Angeles by rap mogul Marion Suge Knight, who is serving a 28-year prison sentence for manslaughter. The record company has released multi-platinum hip-hop albums by artists such as Dr. Dre, Snoop Dogg, and Tupac. The deal would combine those brands with Hasbro's popular titles, including My Little Pony, Transformers, Play-Doh, Monopoly, and Power Rangers. Hasbro will leverage E1's immersive entertainment capabilities to bring our portfolio of brands that have appeal to gamers, fans, and families to all screens globally. The deal, which is still subject to some regulatory approvals, is expected to close by the end of this year. Top E1 executives will join the Hasbro team, the company said, without naming the executives, but shares of E1 shot up more than 35% Friday, climbing above the price Hasbro agreed to pay. That sparked speculation that E1 could receive a competing bid. Hasbro has sought to recover from the closure of Toys R Us, a major partner, by striking creative new deals. That includes a partnership with Netflix, which is said in June it would make an animated series based on Hasbro's Magic the Gathering trading cards. Plus, we know the Transformers show is coming there as well. So it's one of those things, this happens all the time, right? Where companies buy out other companies, and those companies happen to own a number of things, and in this case, Deathrow Records. I think Peppa the Pig is a smart move. My kids loved it when they were little, the older ones anyway, and Hasbro has been making a number of weird moves to acquire things in order to cover the loss of what Toys R Us has left for them. If you're watching the landscape regarding them, they're aware of it. And that's even with the huge selling stuff that they have, such as Nerf, Magic the Gathering, and, you know, the big licensed stuff like Star Wars and Marvel. It's just ironic, and I wonder what they would do with that stuff once they got it. Like, would they continue to release it? How do shareholders feel about it? All that, shareholders usually don't care as long as the money keeps rolling in. But it is funny. It's also funny because Marvel Legends is going to kind of reapproach the way that they release figures, and they're going to do away with releasing single figures. This is for two reasons. One, they're getting rid of the plastic cards, right? And two, with the ownership of Deathrow Records, they're going to start releasing them kind of exclusively in 2-packs. Look, you stop laughing at them, I'll stop telling them. But yeah, I thought that stuff was kind of interesting and worth covering. Also, fairly topical. Good luck for Unicron. Let me know how it went. I'll know. Don't let me know. I'll know. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. Until next time, take care.